altered. There is magic in the mundane, bliss in the banal. The day is your dharma. I'm your host, Amaryllis, Ayurvedic health counselor, yogini, and Akashic Records reader, and this is your life, altered. Hello, dearest Earth family. We're back for another episode, and this is the week of the Akashic Sunday sessions, which we will have coming up in a little bit. I wanted to share a couple of things first. Because last week's episode was about coming home to the body, I wanted to share an experience that I had in the body. It's so, rare that even though I have a practice of coming into the body, I'm very much a Vata dosha. And I tend to be scattered or ungrounded, and I have to be very intentional about drawing the energy in and down and grounding and being at home in the body. This is even after years of doing work so that I don't dissociate anymore and all these other things. So I had a beautiful experience of being in the body in a very different way. I don't think it's something that we experience very often in our day and age, but this was such a powerful moment that I wanted to share it. I took a day trip with my daughter. I went out to a place called Silver Falls, and it's right outside of Portland. It's about an hour drive. There's a hike where you can go and see 10 waterfalls, and I think the hike is around 11 miles or so. We didn't do the full hike. We just went maybe like 3 miles in or so. There were a couple of waterfalls that I wanted to see in particular. The beautiful thing about this place, this space, is that you can go behind a couple of the waterfalls. And when I first experienced it this summer, of course, because it's summer and it's not raining as much here in Oregon, the falls weren't as big as they are in the wintertime. So it was still beautiful. It was still amazing and incredible. But I remember somebody saying, if you really, really want to experience the power of these waterfalls, come in the wintertime after it's been raining and you have so much more water coming off of these falls. So I definitely set the intention. I'm going back in the wintertime. We made the drive. I'm with my daughter. We hike out. There's one fall in particular. You walk behind this waterfall and you're so close behind it. It's like the wall of water is just a few feet in front of you. And it was for sure much bigger than it was in the summertime. And I swear, trying to gauge it, it was like 50 feet across. And I'm standing behind it. And it's not that high. So it's pounding on the earth, the rock below. And what was so sensational about this is that you feel the water, you hear the water, but you also hear that deep vibration of that huge wall of water incessantly pounding on the rock very close below you. And when you take a moment and sink into that feeling, to listen to it, but then also to feel the vibration, that vibration of the power of this unending flow of water falling, pounding on the rock, and the vibration that it creates. In me physically, I felt a shift in my pelvic floor, like it dropped, almost like a release of the second and first chakra, like a dropping down and a release, an engagement with the earth and water elements associated with those chakras. It was a very unique sensation. I don't think I felt something like that before. And there was a connection with the earth. And then I felt a vibration in the lower part of the spine, going up through the low back, like a tingling through the spine, as if the pounding of the water on this rock was vibrating through my spine. It felt so primal. It felt so primitive. It felt so raw. It felt so powerful that there was no way to disengage from this experience. The sounds were connecting me into my body in a deeper way than I haven't experienced before. And I just started crying. It was such a release. There's so much that's held in the body, and it just felt completely natural as the pelvic floor, something shifted there and let go as I'm sinking into the flow of this waterfall and the incessant falling, dropping down, dropping down, dropping down. It felt so natural to just release the tears, whatever is held in the body, and let those fall and flow. If anybody listening is in the Portland area or somewhere nearby, I highly recommend visiting these falls and walking behind a couple of them for this experience. Because it's wintertime, no one else was out there with me behind this waterfall. It was just me and my daughter. And so it felt like a sacred moment to just connect. And it was a beautiful moment in the body, coming home into this body. This week's Akashic Sunday session piggybacks off of one from a couple of weeks ago. For those who haven't listened before, I open the Akashic Records for the audience of the Altered podcast, and then I channel a message from the Akashic Records. What you're about to hear after this is me channeling that message. It used to be on IGTV that I would channel the message and then retell it in video format. But what you're about to hear is me actually in the records and speaking the message as I channel it through. So there's a little bit of a voice variation. Sometimes I don't speak as clearly, or it sounds a little bit different. So that's what you're hearing. I hope that you enjoy the message and the card draw that was also pulled with that from the Mother Peace Tarot. For those that would like to see the card that was drawn, I have it up on Instagram stories. If you miss it while it's up kind of the live time, then it's saved. You'll see a bubble that says podcast, and you'll find them there. May this message sink in deeply and inspire new perception. It's always helpful to listen to this in a place where you can really receive it. Even if you want to listen to this now and you're driving, or you're kind of listening to this while you're at work, that's fine, but perhaps come back to it and listen to it at a time when you can let the message sink in a different way, in a deeper way. Always feel free to let me know how the Akashic Sunday session lands for you. You can email me, DM me. And if you've been listening to this podcast, please leave a review. Thank you for your support. Enjoy. There's much to be seen. There's much to be seen, and the eyes are open and see, but not seeing all. You see what you allow yourself to see. You see what the mind directs your eyes and vision to see. And beyond this, you don't see. The vision has been blocked, corrupted, skewed, filtered, redirected. There is something that can be seen, but will not be seen. And this is not because it's not there, but because the mind is making a choice and denying that it's there, not allowing it to be there, dismissing that it's there, arguing that it's not there, that nothing is there. But if you travel within the body, if you travel within deeper realms that aren't quite so connected to the mind, they have something different to say, that something is there. Perhaps we cannot see it because the tools with which we are trying to see it cannot perceive it. This doesn't mean that it's not there, only that the measurement, the tools by which we are trying to see it are limited and unable. Find a different tool. use a different method, create a different way of seeing. And through a new lens, you will find that many things have been right there, right in front of you, right beside you, behind you, all around you, all along. It's not that they suddenly are there. They were always there. You just could not see them. What is it that you can't see right now? What is it that perhaps you are unwilling to see right now? The card for this week, the Empress. With the Empress card, we have abundance, we have creativity, we have connection to earth, beauty, fertility, mothering, love, creation. I think I already said that. It's a really abundant, life-giving card. In connection with this message from the Akashic Records, are we not seeing the abundance of our life? Are we not seeing the beauty and the grace in our life? Are we not seeing the love that is actually there? Are we not seeing the beauty? So if you look around at your own surroundings, do you not see that there's clutter, that there is a mess or disorganization? Do you not see that there's no beauty, perhaps in your workspace? Having this card drawn for me for this particular message is speaking to me that this is what we're not seeing as we look around at our life, our physical world, our physical space, our relationships, our connection to the earth, our way of moving and being in the world as the creators of our life. There's something there that we're not seeing in relationship to this, that this exists for us and is all around us, but we're not seeing it or not allowing ourselves to see it in some way or in many ways. Take a journal and reflect upon this. Write down all of these aspects and ask yourself before you go to bed or as a morning practice, what is it that I'm not seeing? What is it that I'm not allowing myself to see? Listen again to the message from the Akashic Sunday session in relationship to each of these aspects. What resistance do I have to seeing? What truth am I unwilling to look at because I think it'll be too difficult or too hard? What this card says to me is that it's not too hard, because on the other side of that, when you do open your eyes to what is around that you're unwilling to see, that there's much to be gained. There's beauty and bounty. There's relationship and connection and love. But the unwillingness to see certain aspects is keeping you from this, recognizing this, or receiving this. I will definitely be doing a journal practice on this and reflecting on this, because the messages are not just for you all, they're also for me. So as I go into my cleanse this week, I will be reflecting upon this as well, and I may have some thoughts for you for next week. Until next time. Remember that spirit guides but never decides. How will you choose this hour, this day, this week at the altar of your life? Thank you so much for listening. If you feel called, subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it. Also, connect with me and discover more on Instagram at Amaryllis_Fernandez. Until next time.